Uh, hey, how are you guys? What's going on? So today I have a couple of topics I want to talk about, and I'm just going to state those out. So the first thing I want to cover is this article that I saw where they're basically these companies are providing some additional perks, meaning money, to employees, basically to try to get them to take pay time off. Of course, you're talking about full-time employees with that. And then the other topic of discussion is going to be about student loans, one of my favorite topics, right? But there's something that just came out on LinkedIn. There's a couple articles. One is from CNBC Make It, and they're talking about just the millennials that are on the older end. So apparently there is, I didn't realize how big the millennial gap was. It's hard to think about because I was born in the 90s, but they're the millennials that were born in the 80s. They're, getting up there, getting some of them closer to 40. And so a lot of them are really regretting taking out student loans. And there's even some cases lately, if you look at Gen Z, they're even facing a couple of different issues with, these are the folks, Generation Z, born after or in 1997 or after. And they're talking about some of them have entered this job market right in the midst of the pandemic. So a couple of different topics to talk about today. And hopefully you can hear me all right. Hey, Edward, nice to see you. Hope you can hear me okay. So I'm going to jump in. Hey, Anthony, you said a waste of debt, right? Like I agree with that. There's definitely a lot more that you could do with that type of money, but it's crazy. I'll just talk about this. My stance on the whole student debt thing is, why is it so easy to get 40, 30, 50, 60, thousands of dollars of debt at the age of 18? When at 18, you can't even, you can't drink, you can't rent a car at that age. And yet they're able to say, well, you can take out this $50,000 of debt. But in most cases, you can't get a loan to buy a house. You can't do a house purchase, or you can't take out a loan for a business at that age. So why is it so easy for you to get out the student debt? There's definitely a system to it. It is my thought process. Let's keep the people getting the money. Let's keep them, able to get that money. Or on the other end, if we really felt that students should be able to get that large amount of money, right? Well, then why is there no, set up class that you have to take that really goes into details on what it means to take out such a large number? Now, I could get maybe $10,000, $20,000. That's equivalent to a car purchase. Most of the time, you can get a car purchase if you have someone that can maybe, I don't know, what is it called? Be your beneficiary or whatever they call it, that can pretty much vouch for you of like, hey, if they don't pay it, I'll pay it. So, that I would feel okay with. But a lot of times it's way more than 10,000 or 20,000 to take out debt. So we'll talk about that. Thank you, Edward, for saying the audio is good. Awesome. I could have put that in my Roth IRA at 18 and been better off at age 45. I see. Yes, that's so true. That's so true. There's way more places you can put the investment. So, depending on what you go to school for, of course, like if you're going to school to be a doctor, $50,000 a debt doesn't sound like anything. Most likely, a lot of doctors are well over $100,000 of debt, but they can typically repay that. The issue comes into play if you can't complete the degree, or you get a worthless degree, or you get a degree where your chances of, moving into a role is a little subjective on your network, or if certain companies hire you and things like that. So it gets harder when you're doing that. Anthony's saying certifications are cheaper, even 2 years of school, or boot camps are worth more in today's time, but it didn't look like that in the 90s. Right. So older generations really lucked out with school. And I'm going to take a sip of water real quick. Yeah, no, I agree with that, Anthony. Okay, so let me see if I can just show this and highlight. And I am using LinkedIn. If you saw the video from earlier that I posted today, you know, I love LinkedIn. And actually, give me 1 second. I'm going to grab something and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I'm back. All right, so let me see if I can. This is a little annoying. See if I can share my screen here. Okay, so this first article, I'll just pull this one up. I think it's this one. Okay. Okay, so I don't know how, well, I don't know if I can make that any bigger. Yeah, I'm not sure how to make things larger right now, so I'll just kind of talk through it here. It's basically saying that these companies, a lot of large companies right now are, especially right now, they're talking about PricewaterhouseCoopers or PwC is what a lot of people know them as. They're, you know, huge. They're like similar to Deloitte and some of the other big like accounting firms. And so they are basically providing a bonus, $250 for every week of vacation that their employees take. So up to $1,000 a year. So if you're working at PwC right now and you have vacation time, right, you're a full-time employee, you could be getting up to $1,000 additional for you to just take your paid time off. Now, I think the efforts, when I was reading through the articles that are linked here, is that a lot of companies are really afraid that because of the pandemic and a lot of people aren't feeling like they have anywhere to go, they're just going to hold on to their, you know, their paid time off. And so as you think about it, your paid time off really accrues throughout the year. And so what companies don't want to happen is for all the employees to say, okay, it's November, it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, you know, or whatever holiday you celebrate at the end of the year, I'm ready to take my vacation. Or it's the end of summer, August, September, I'm ready to take my vacation. And everyone's taking that vacation at the same time. So that causes issues because who's going to do the work? Typically, you have this balance of the paid time off where certain employers are going to be working, keeping everything up and running, and others are taking the time they need. And that works well typically, but a lot of employees are worried about that. So they're offering $1,000 a year or $250 for each week that you have. So that's pretty cool. I think it's a good incentive to do to get employees to take their paid time off. I mean, I wish I was at a company like that. I'm like, yeah, sure, pay me to take my time off. I like that idea. But some other companies are also doing this. Citigroup, SAP, and LinkedIn, of course, are the people that are actually writing or sharing this news. They're also doing things similar to that, where they're offering, pay time off, longer weekends, and trying to really help people recharge. I think another part of this too is that these companies are realizing that, hey, Bella, these companies are realizing that, like, look, people are really having issues with dealing with the pandemic, and they need to take time to recharge. Like last year, people that were working, they were literally working from home. Like they wake up, start working at their computer, and typically they're working longer hours. And we've talked about on my channel here, you're more productive typically. Some people are, some people aren't if they have a lot of distraction at home. but you're more productive when you're working from home. You work more when you're working from home, even because if you think about, you're not having that commute into the office, away from the office, back home, and things like that. So they're recognizing that companies do want to take employees to recharge, because if employees aren't doing that, then their work will tend to suffer. So it's interesting. Certifications are cheaper. Even 2 years of school or boot camps are worth more in today's time, but it didn't look like that in the 90s. I'm going to talk about the student loan debt, Anthony, as well. Hey, Edward, thanks for staying in here. I know I do. Brown girl. Right? I'm like, you don't have to pay me to take my vacation, but if you want to pay me, yes. I think it's a good initiative. I really do. I think it's, I don't know, it's interesting. They actually linked to the Wall Street Journal's article where they digged in a little deeper. The companies are basically trying to, because right now there's so many employees that do have so much time off. They're trying to get people to just disconnect because everything's online, and that can take a toll on your mental health too. So they do recognize that. So I think it's a really good incentive. Kudos to PwC. The chairman, Tim Ryan, made some different statements about it. And now they did highlight that this plan that PwC has of how they're paying $250 up to $1,000 a year for them to take a full week. Like, it can't just be a couple days here and there, but a full week of vacation. He was saying that it could cost the firm millions of dollars. But they've tried to get people to do it in other ways, he was saying, but it sounds like that's not been working. So when you push the money, he said, people tend to see that the company is really serious about them wanting to get them to take paid time off. Yeah. So that was an interesting story that I saw out on LinkedIn. Again, you guys know I love LinkedIn. So I want to share this other one though, which this one is about the student loan debt. Let me see here. Thank you, Edward. Thank you. Yes, please do hit the thumbs up. Brown girl Bella is saying, also, I think companies, I forgot to share myself out. See, I thought I was doing so good at that for a minute. I'm going to read your comment in 1 minute, Bella, because I think that's a good one. Good point. Okay. Also, I think companies are starting to offer the holiday off, as most businesses slow down anyway towards the end of year. You know what? I had seen a trend of that happening for certain companies. I know Boeing had been doing that. If you work at the corporate office, I think. So here's the only challenge with that. I think the only people that suffer because of that, like if you have an office job, it's great. It's sad that the people that really miss out on a lot of these benefits are the hourly employees, like the people that work in factories or in warehouses and things, that are providing our food and shipping different products to us. That's tough because they're not going to get those same benefits, right? So yeah, but yeah, I have seen the trend of that happening because yes, depending on what industry you're in, some industries, obviously like Amazon, Walmart, Target, if you're in retail, any type of retail, you're busy during the holiday. So they want you to take this vacation now so we can get you during the holiday. But if you're in an industry like I said, Boeing, or if you're working at maybe a bank, or maybe financial services, they're probably going to be winding down at the end of the year. PR firms, you guys know I worked at a public relations agency before. It was hit or miss because I worked in recruitment. So sometimes most of the time, hiring tends to slow down towards the end of the year. But there's certain instances where if you with a PR firm, if you want a contract or something, we needed people. So we had to get a head start on it before the new year. Or everyone's gone and you work in HR, and then that's when all the employee issues come up. I've had those instances too when I was a HR, HR business partner. It's just like, and everybody's gone because you're supporting everyone else. So everyone outside of your group, everyone else's groups are coming to you. So it ends up you having a busier week sometimes. It just depends. But yes, great comment, Bella. Companies stop in October. Some companies stop in October, some of them. And others gear up in October. And then if you think about this, like healthcare, benefits companies like Aetna, all these different ones, they actually ramp up in October. That's like their busier season because that's when typically people are getting signed up for their benefits and, in these companies and whatnot. So yeah, that it depends. It just depends on the industry. Oh, thank you, Brown Girl Bella. I appreciate that. Anthony Harrington, really, what companies stop in October? I know, that's why I was kind of like, I think some of them do. Some of them start slowing down in October, whereas others start ramping up. Like, again, retail. Retail is a big one. They know they're getting ready for Thanksgiving, Black Friday, holiday season. So if you work in retail, I'm sorry for you, but you're not getting those holidays typically. And I've worked in retail. I've worked at like real retail. I've worked at a retail company, like at the corporate sector, but then I've also worked on the floor retail at Macy's. I used to work at Macy's for a short time. I worked there in their jewelry department. They have a really easy hiring process, by the way. It was like, I don't know. It was almost too easy. It's weird when you're going through a hiring process and you have some recruiting experience. I was younger, but it was still weird because I was like critiquing them on what they were doing. Anyway, I worked at Macy's at their jewelry counter. Easy, one of the easiest jobs ever. Like looking at jewelry and like helping people pick out their jewelry, and you got commission, and it was super easy. I think other people in other departments like shoes and clothes, because they had to do real work, I think they were a little jealous. But you just had to look pretty, look nice, and get those sales. Easiest commission ever. So anyway, going off on a tangent, but yeah, I don't know, Anthony. As far as hiring, Anthony's saying as far as hiring, like the hiring starts to slow down. Yes, I will agree with that. Hiring tends to slow down, except when you're in like if I was a recruiter at Amazon, I would know October is going to be my busy season because we got to get more people. If I was a recruiter at, I don't know, Kroger, I'm going to be doing more hiring. If I was a recruiter at any retail store, Macy's, Nordstrom, I don't know, Sephora, I'm going to be doing more hiring. And when I worked for my client, Moet Hennessy, ooh, nice client, Bella. When I worked for my client, Moet Hennessy, October, November, and December were our busiest time. Exactly. That sounds like it, because if you think about it, when is the higher demand for alcohol? Parties. When do the parties happen? You would think it's during like the summer, but no, it's all those holiday parties, the business parties, all these different events that happen. If you think about like all of the religious holidays too, I don't know if like for even Christmas parties, like Christians drink. So that's going to be there. And then you have all the end of the year parties that happen. So yeah, Hennessy's definitely going to be busy for sure. Hi, Mud Mower. Hello, welcome in. Nice to see you. I think this is my first time seeing you in my live chat. Welcome. So yeah, I would say, retail, food, alcohol, any of that, because a lot of the parties are going to be happening in events. So for sure. Feel free to make any other comments about that, but I just thought it was pretty interesting to see that these companies were actually paying bonuses to try to get people, like, they're like, please take your vacation. Can you take some vacation? We need you. We just need you to take a week of vacation. Can you do that? Here's some money, like, please. So if you haven't taken your vacation yet, you might want to check out and see if your company is providing any benefits. And again, some of the companies were PwC. Citigroup is also taking that initiative, where they're offering more company days off or longer weekends to help staff just recharge. And then SAP, which I don't know if a lot of US folks know about them, but I've used SAP as like it's like probably the biggest data house ever. And then LinkedIn. So I'm sure there are many others. All right, let me share this other article. Let's talk about student debt. Let's go ahead and talk about that one. All right, let me share this. Let me stop that one. And I see your comment, Anthony. In Europe, they take off for a month together at my old company. Yes, if you could work in Europe and most European countries, they've got it. They've got it right. They've got work-life balance set up in the right way, for real. Because in America, it's always about work, 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 work. And I'm showing the wrong thing. Let me go back and unshare. It's not what I want to talk about yet. Not yet. Okay, I want to talk about the student debt. But yeah, Anthony, I think Europeans, I think we can learn a lot from them because, they really focus on the balance. Like you should be taking time away from your day-to-day work, right? So I think that's really good. Let's see. I want to say, is it this one? Okay, I'm going to try this one and see. Hopefully I'm sharing the right one. Still not. Okay, I'm just going to read it. So basically, this article is talking about older millennials are regretting school debt. So they're saying, and this is CNBC Money or CNBC Make It, they're saying that 52%, over half of millennials, are regretting taking out student loans, even though they are quoting like college grads generally benefit from higher earnings, but it's not enough. We had that discussion on my channel already. Compared to, baby boomers, and how if they got a college degree, they significantly gain higher income. Our income has been pretty stagnant over the past like 20 years. So it's not like you get this degree and you're just, unless you're in the right industry, you're just, you're going to make it either way. Baby boomers had it set up to where, I mean, you get a degree in whatever, you're probably going to make significant amounts of money and you're going to get promotions and things like that pretty easily. For, millennials, I would even say maybe Gen X, it's just been harder. It's been a lot harder, but definitely millennials for sure. A lot of millennials even, thinking about Gen Z, they're looking for jobs during this pandemic. A lot of millennials started looking for work right in the midst of the 2008 crash. So that was tough. And if, you were like me, I was in high school. So I wasn't, in the working world, like big girl working world yet. But once I got into the working world, stuff hadn't really changed. We didn't really see big changes up until maybe 2014, 2015, when businesses started really paying more for, the same jobs. And we saw the job market opening up a lot more and the economy really started booming, I would say. But yeah, it was really tough from about 2008 up to maybe 2013. So if you think about the millennials during that time, but they're saying money, they were basically quoting that a growing number of Americans are retiring with student loans. That's the part that I actually want to talk about. They're retiring with student loans, and the debt for borrowers over 50, the age of 50, it's getting, getting into those golden years, right? It doubled to 20% of the federal student loan portfolio over the last 15 years. So if you're over 50, you might have significant debt. And they actually walked through a couple of studies. Maybe I could share this one with you, where they're looking at these different scenarios. It's kind of weird. Thank you, Edward. Hey, Paolindo, nice to see you. Welcome in. And Paolindo, be sure to check out the video I posted earlier today. It was a reaction video. It's a little bit long. It's longer than my normal because, normally I post videos that are between 5 and maybe 10 minutes long. This one is longer, but I mean, just support it. I had fun creating it, so I would appreciate it. Okay, so, and Paolindo, please do say hello to Brown Girl Bella. She is in here as well. Okay, so this is it. So really trying to break down that the older Americans have the student loans. Like 50s, you should be starting to say, okay, we're slowing it down, planning for retirement, possibly, or maybe part-time work or things like that. Just because it's, I mean, you've 50 years of age, half your life you spent, almost half your life, I'll say, you spent working. A lot of people start working at the age of 15 or 16. So, all right. So this example, I don't know if you can really see it. Wish I could zoom in. Maybe I can. Let me see here. There we go. Okay. So they're talking about this lady, Sabrina Elliott. She was actually kind of talking about her experience of getting degrees in the 90s. So it says, so more than 2 decades into her career, the Charlotte, North Carolina resident still owes roughly $1,400 a month. What? That's a whole rent payment in some places. So she's owing a rent, like, or a mortgage. She owes the equivalent of a mortgage to the federal student loan payment. So she has to pay that. And she does have 2 degrees, which she earned in the 90s. So, like, when I was being born, this lady was accumulating this debt. Jesus, and she still has it today. What? That is beyond me. Thanks, Paola. No, nice to see you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, what in the world? Okay. So, she's got this debt. So, she accumulated this debt in the 1990s. So, that's just beyond me. Like, I'm being born and she's got all this debt, which she's still paying back. So from a retirement perspective, she's saying, do I have savings? Yes. So at least she does have some savings, which is different from some of the stats I shared when I was assessing the baby boomer generation, which I think she'd be a Gen Xer. Some of the money I would ordinarily like to invest or put toward retirement, I'm still using for student loans, which we saw $1,400 a month. Her challenge isn't unusual. While most student debt is held by people in their 20s and 30s, federal data shows nearly 8.5 million borrowers are 50 years and older. Like, how discouraging is that to know that the group that came before you that had less student payments, like the cost of college was significantly less when this lady, what is her name? Sabrina, when she went to school in the 90s, college was significantly less than it is today. And even she wasn't able to pay her student loans back. Now I would like, we don't have all the details of like, okay, what's her budget? How much, like, could she have paid it back if she had put some focus into it, did the Dave Ramsey plan and really, got it out of her life? Maybe she would have, who knows? But I'll keep reading here. I'm trying to like make this balance. Okay. So it says her challenge is unusual. While most student debt is held by people in their 20s and 30s, federal data shows that nearly 8.5 million borrowers are 50 years and older. Baby boomers, who I've talked about before in another video, those aged 56 to 74 held an average loan balance of $40,000. What? Like, okay. So 56 to 74, golden years. Like, they should be in Florida retired. 56 to 74 held an average loan balance of $40,000 and 512. Last year is a 2020. Goodness. Is this 2020? Let me make sure I know when this was posted. Let me just take a look. Yep, it was posted April 8th, 2021. So last year. So this is up to date. Oh my gosh. And that data is from Experian. Wow. 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 Okay. So borrowers age 50 plus owe a combined 336 billion. This is why, you know what? This is the business part of it, because who's getting this money? Right? The federal government. Like, why would the federal government want to shut this down? They're getting lots of money. And I was just watching a video earlier today where they were talking about Social Security, like, how does this Social Security work? And they were talking about different options that is possible to make it so that people still are able to get like Social Security, like someone like me. And it's not likely, but they were breaking down the fact that with the Social Security dollars they receive, so you get it from the taxes. I think it's like a 6% tax that you get, and the money is invested into treasury bonds, is what they were saying. So very little interest on the money, but it's secure. But if they had maybe changed the way they invested it, apparently Bill Clinton was one that was recommending that they make changes to how they invested that to get returns on the money, they'd be in a better place. But if you think about it, well, they can use some of this money. Like, they're getting $336 billion. That's how much people owe. And the only way you can get rid of it is if you pay it or if you die. Like, that is it. And of course, we have, the pause on interest and on the payments right now, but that is ridiculous. Let me make a stop and check on some comments. Anthony's saying, I wonder what will happen if you only had to make principal payments and eliminate interest. Well, yes, that's the thing, because you have the different types of the loans, right? So some of them are fixed rate and some of them are variable rates. So some of them, subsidized or unsubsidized. But yeah, I think that would make it better, at least if people didn't have to pay interest on it. But that's what happens. You borrow $20,000 and then you make the minimum payments on it, like I'm sure a lot of people have done, like in this case for Sabrina, but you're barely paying on the principal. So it's just like a car. If you ever look at the car payments and how when you go to a car dealership, they're always focused on, let's talk about the payment. I'm going to take that away for just a second. Let's talk about the payment. They never talk about, okay, the full price of the car. And it's because you're going to be paying more in the long term when you add in all the fees and you add in the interest. So when you break it down and see like, oh, you're going to be paying the student loan for over the course of, I don't know, they have it estimated 25 years based on that minimum payment. So if you pay more than that, you can get into the principal, which is what they need. But they don't teach you that. They don't explain that to you, right? You have to find that out yourself, because when you don't know, you spend years like this lady has been doing, Sabrina, and you're paying on the principal while this interest is accruing and accruing. And guess who still gets their money? It's either the federal government, they're getting their money, or even worse, sometimes it's the private loans. Typically, those interest rates are higher, right? So it's just an entire mess. Having a degree doesn't guarantee you a job nowadays. Exactly. Yes, plenty. So just offhand, thinking about my college circle, in the first year to 3 years out of college, I know 2 people that did not get their degrees. They went to college. They spent the 4 years of college, right? But they needed one last class. One girl, very smart girl, but she needed this one last class, and she was like in a bind. Some family issues came up. She just couldn't pay for it, and the cost kept going. And so I don't think she ever went back to get her degree. And that's unfortunate because, okay, well, so now you spent all that time, you spent your youth, 4 years of your youth. And yes, she worked, so she has some skills. So she was able to get some work, but it was not in the field that she was looking for. And it wasn't at the pay that she could have gotten if she had a degree, because that's the other thing. You go to school, and if you don't get that degree, if you don't complete the degree, this is why I would say, if you're on year 2 or if you're on year 3, just go ahead and get that degree. Like, try to work maybe another job or do something, get some grants or something to help pay for that last year. But if you're kind of like in your 3rd year and you're realizing, oh my gosh, why am I in school? You might as well just go ahead. You've already spent 3 years, get the degree. Don't let them just take the money and then you get nothing in return. But different things happen. And unfortunately, for underserved communities, poor students, traditionally Hispanic, Black students, a lot of those groups do not end up completing a degree. That's why there's so many programs to help push these students. And some of that actually ends up being, just from my personal experience, what I've seen, and even for my personal life, family. It's like family and they need some stuff and they're trying to get some, and they need you to do stuff. And it's just like, it's weird. Even for Black girls, especially for Black girls, I would say it's weird. Lots of demands. And it's like, can I just get through college? Can you just let me finish college before you start? So a lot of stuff you have to deal with. Hey, Cassandra, how are you? Welcome in. And thank you for watching the video from earlier. I have to agree with that, Edward. Yes, definitely. It does not guarantee your job. But it should, because you know what? Here's the thing. Like, if you think about anything else, if you take out a loan to buy a house, you have a house. If you take out a loan to have a car, you have the car, right? You take out a loan to get a business, well, you have that business. It depends on you, what you do with it, right? With college, you get this piece of paper that says you learn X, Y, and Z. You could have learned X, Y, and Z. You could have not learned X, Y, and Z, because there was a lot of scammy universities, right? Do you guys remember Everest? Do you guys remember that commercial? Hey, you're sitting on the couch right now. You need to get off that couch. You could be going to school, whatever that guy used to say. But I know he would always start with, hey, you're sitting on the couch right now. It's just like, what is this? But I remember that advertisement. But I think that school and a couple others, plenty of others, like across the United States, had been running these scams of these schools that were pretty much worthless. And at the end of it, students would have this degree that they really couldn't do anything with, and not a lot of knowledge. Like, it wasn't respected by others because, when you talk to them, it's like, well, did they learn anything? So yeah, you have those instances too. Let me see here, and I'll go back to the article. Everybody's fine in the chat. All right, let me go back to the article. So let's continue reading about this story of Sabrina and her issues here. So again, borrowers age 50 and up, they're now owing a combined $336 billion. And it's up for 10% from 15 years ago. That's interesting. And yeah, I do agree. That's probably the interest, because a lot of people are they just pay the minimum. And like, if you think about a car, at least cars are significantly, unless you're getting a Bentley or something, there's a significantly less. You're spending maybe $25,000, $15,000. If you get a used car, you can even pay less than that. And even with that, you should pay more than the principal, but a lot of people just pay just the minimum, and they end up having a car loan for like 7 years. So, okay. So they're saying, gone are the days of assuming that college debt is a problem only for the young professional crowd. That's true. Student loans but here's my thing with that. The issue though, and my question for Sabrina would be, what did you do with your money? Like, why do you still have this student loan? Because baby boomers, out of every generation, they had it the best when it comes to being in a booming economy. Keyword, baby boomer. They were in booming economy. Like, what did you do with the money? Why didn't you pay off the debt? So this is my time to be judgmental, because a lot of baby boomers have judged millennials and saying that we're lazy and we're demanding too much. No, we're paying more for college. We're coming into jobs in companies that where the jobs just weren't available, the promotions weren't as available as, say, the baby boomers' lifetime. So my question to her would be, what'd you do with the money? Like, you're what age? You're in your 50s? Come on. I don't agree with that. Okay. So student loans and the long-lasting burden they bring with them now extend across generational lines. Parents borrowing to help pay for their children's education are big drivers of that. That is true. I will agree with that. My parent did not do that, but I get it. There are also many older borrowers who are still paying off loans for their own education, as Elliot is, which is Sabrina Elliott. The fastest growing segment of borrowers has been older adults. Really? That's interesting. That's the largest growing segment of borrowers? What? That doesn't make sense. Okay, let me see what they're talking about. So, and this is the Senior Strategic Policy Advisor at AARP, Public Policy Institute. The share of debt has grown, the dollar amounts have grown, and it's really a challenge as they're running up against the retirement clock. You know what? My heart does go out to them, because it is kind of like, I mean, if I were at that age, I'd be like, y'all not getting any money. Like, what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna put a 87-year-old in prison? Like, I think I would have to take my chances. That's crazy. That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, what are you supposed to do at that point? Like, I feel like there should be some type of regulation that says, like, if you haven't paid it off by your retirement age, it just goes away. Like, I think they put in enough money with interest, the principal plus interest, that it should be, I mean, because mathematically, if you were to have just lowered the interest rate to, I think, Anthony's point, I'm sure a lot more people would have had their debts paid. So I think the great thing right now is that the student loan debt, like, it's all been frozen. So you're not, like, there's no interest accruing. You don't have to pay on your debt. So if you do pay your student loan off right now, you're just done. Like, it's a good time to do it. Or if you want to wait until as soon as they restart them, I guess, and then pay them off, that's probably a good idea. Okay, so let me see. Is there anything else in here that I wanted to, because that part, I'm just like, what in the world? So here's the interesting thing too. Sabrina, started out with a comparatively small amount of debt, about $10,000 for her undergraduate degree. I want to know what her undergraduate degree was in. Like, what did she study? Like, her undergraduate degree. And then from there, she went to law school. $60,000 of debt is what she got. So, okay, I don't understand. So this really gets me to a place where I don't understand. How do you have this debt still? You went to law school. Like, did you become a lawyer? I don't understand. Like, why didn't you just move into something that was high paying, do that job for 5 years? 'Cause I think it says, I did read through this part, I skimmed through this part, and she was working like not high paying jobs. But why would you not work a high paying job for like 5 years, knock that debt out, and then go do what you want? Like, yeah, that's what I would advise if someone was in her spot right now. Let me see here. Just forgive the interest. Right, exactly. I agree with that, Anthony. And oh no, I still pay. Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad you're still paying on them. Hopefully you can get them done soon. Anthony, how much student debt do you have? I'm curious. Hopefully you're close to getting those paid down. And if you, Miss Full Roller isn't in here, but this is another channel. If you haven't seen her, watch some of her earlier videos. She had some good money saving tips. Miss Full Roller, Sarah. She has some good money saving tips in some of her older videos. You owe 30. Oh my gosh, you owe over 30,000. Wow. What type of, okay, so I'm curious, what type of degree do you have? And what state are you in? Because I don't remember. I'm sorry. That is tough. It's not that bad because 30,000, if you think of it, would be a really nice car. Hopefully you're making at least double than that. So at least 60. So if you had like a really good, like Dave Ramsey type of plan, you'll probably, oh, you're Virginia, right? So you should be making more than 60,000. Then in that case, Virginia is a higher cost of living, well, certain areas. Back from 1999, I feel for you. But I do question, I'm like, okay, why? Like, why is it still there? Especially in her case, because I'm like, easy, in my mind, easy. Work a job, even if 5 years in the big picture of everything, like you could live to be 90 or maybe 100 even. Work the job for 4 or 5 years and knock it out. Just get it. I don't know. Okay. But in the years that followed her graduation in 1998, she worked in lower paying and nonprofit jobs, including a job at the city of Charlotte, working in housing administration. She made less than $40,000 a year. Look. Okay, so here's my thing. Here's my issue with that. And it's this. You don't need a law degree to work in the housing administration. Ben Carson showed us that. Like, you don't need a law degree. I don't understand why did you go to law school? I don't understand that. And was it because you couldn't get into the legal field that you were really trying to get into? I don't understand. So she made less than 40,000 a year. I just that makes me, that's cringy. Well, it's not cringy, but it's like, yeah, it is. It's a little cringy. I'm like, why? Like, ugh, why? So she made less than 40,000 a year. While that would have been enough to meet her basic needs in the low cost of living area, it wasn't enough to afford repaying her debt. Yeah, because she has a law degree. I don't understand. Or maybe she didn't. Well, no, she has 2 degrees, so she has the law degree. I don't understand that. Okay, so public service loan oh no, she depended on that? Wait a minute, let's see here. I think that's probably what got her. Public service loan forgiveness. I've heard so many horror stories of like how that does not really work and how people were depending on that, and then for some reason they weren't able to have their loans forgiven. Okay, so it allows borrowers working in nonprofit positions to have their loans forgiven after 10 years of payments. Did not exist. Oh, it didn't exist yet. Even if it did exist, I don't know if it would have helped her much unless she was very strict to follow all of those rules that they have in place of, what makes you eligible. Neither did most of today's income-driven repayment plans, which lower payments based on what you're earning. I don't even know if that even matters. I think the issue is that she moved into an industry that wasn't related to that second education that she got. Why did she go to law school? I don't understand that. Okay, so Sabrina deferred her loans. Oh gosh. This is like a horror story. It's like it's like the student debt horror story. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me look at some comments. Let's pause. With that note, let me just pause for a second. Okay. Associates in computer science and a BFA in visual communication. Okay, that's a good education right there. You should be making some good income. Private schools. Oh yeah, private schools will do it. Yes, I went to a private university as well. I get that. I get it. ECPI Technical College, AIU online. Okay, cool. Happy Sunday. Yes, fella. 2031 is the end. Yeah, you gotta pay up. You gotta pay it off sooner. I'm about to pay I'm gonna put all my focus on that once my car gets paid in July. Oh, yay. Paid off car, that's exciting. It should only take me 5 years. Okay, cool. Well, good luck on that. But yes, Miss Full Roller Sarah, her videos may be able to help you. Oh, thank you, Edward. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You have to work at underprivileged school. Yes, that's true. There's a lot of criteria for the public service student loan forgiveness. Okay, so let me share this again and bring it back up, add it back to the stream, and get back on here. Okay, so what? So okay, she deferred her loans. That's where I paused, because I was just like, why did you defer your loan? That's where people mess up, is when they defer their loans. Postponing payments even as her loans continue to grow with an 8% interest rate. She didn't even have a low interest rate. So she wasn't living lavishly, but she was doing a very low paying job. Like, what did she expect? She didn't even take a vacation until 2009. Oh my goodness. She just didn't feel there was enough money to pay down her student debt and manage her other living expenses. Why didn't she become a lawyer? Like that, unless this question gets answered, I'm just gonna blame her for that, because I'm like, why did you get this law degree to go work at the housing administration? You can do that without a degree or with a bachelor's degree. No, you don't need a law degree for that. And I think that's a big problem. I think people are overeducated for what they actually want to do. For one, we have these bachelor's degree requirements for different jobs. I don't think you should need a bachelor's degree for every job, but I get it. Like, it's just kind of that distinguisher, kind of showing that they have some additional knowledge past high school. Like, I get it, but why not accept associate's degrees? Because that's relevant knowledge, right? You can get a lot of knowledge. It's the same knowledge. Oftentimes you go to a community college and you find a lot of people working on their associate's degrees. A lot of the same professors are working at the university that's nearby. So you're getting the same education oftentimes. So, or similar education. But I think that's the issue, is that we have so many people that are overeducated for what they're actually doing. So if you're getting this additional education, just make sure and you do that due diligence to really make sure that that's what you want to do. Because I know I was actually pre-law in college. Have a little chit-chat. I was pre-law in college, and I talked to plenty of lawyers, probably too many lawyers. And I was just like, oh, these people are miserable. Like, miserable. I don't think I want to do this. And so when I asked them about what they do on a day-to-day, a lot of it was like writing up contracts and things like that. And writing up contracts was not what I envisioned to be, a lawyer. And so I was just like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do this. I need to do some more research. And the more research I did, I figured I actually wanted to work in some form of business, and I wanted to study international countries. And so I did like a tiered Spanish, international studies, and business administration degree. So technically my concentration was international business. So that's what I did. And that was my route. And I said, bachelor's degree is fine. I'm going to get certifications, and that's it. I don't need a master's degree. At least I don't think so right now. Maybe if I decide to do something different, I focus on getting certifications because they're cheaper. I'm not going to be in like $20,000, $30,000 a debt for getting a master's degree, like getting another piece of paper. I just don't see the value add of it. If anything, if I'm going to go into debt, I'm getting a house, like getting a house, or I'm investing in a business or something. Like, no. You fooled me once, shame on me, right? A school becomes privileged school when I'm studying over there. Paolo, a school becomes a privileged school when I'm studying. Right. You should be privileged that I'm coming to your school. I know that's right, Paolo. You should think that way for sure. Everyone should think that way. Oh, thank you, Ever. Please do hit the like button. Brown Girl Bella says, I think you would make a great corporate lawyer. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a corporate lawyer. And yeah, I was like, you know what? Y'all not about make me miserable. But who knows? It could have been great. I don't know. But And two, the other part of that is the time commitment, because I think people underestimate the time, like the value of time, right? So do you like something enough to, one, spend the money, go into debt for the money? So you're spending not only that initial investment, but you're paying interest on that, right? So you're going to end up paying even more. You're owing more, like a credit card. If you buy something on a credit card and it's like, do you really want this enough to pay this and the interest on it unless you pay it off really quickly? And the other part of that is the time commitment. Do you want to stay in school for 3 years? Like the medical students, right? It's like, okay, do you really want to be a medical doctor enough to be in school up until you're close to 30? If that's good for you and you're passionate about it and you really love it and that's what you want to do, I think it's worth it. But if you're like lukewarm about it, maybe you don't do that, right? Or dentistry or all these other areas. Anthony's saying, look, I'm about to learn data engineering. Oh, that's great. Costs $20 versus my 2-year degree, $52,000. What I learned in college, I could have just paid $20 and been debt free. The stuff they taught me is like, oh yeah. And there's so many data related programs, engineering programs and certificates out there. And companies like Google, they're recognizing these different certifications. They even have their own certifications in certain IT spaces or functions. And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely say, look at certifications, look at boot camps. There's a lot of people that are moving into IT, and instead of going to get a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in IT, they have opted to do like a boot camp program, which is less money. And a lot of times these companies are saying like, look, we're partnering with companies directly. We're teaching you real hard skills, and you won't have to pay back anything until you actually get a job in your field. So I think that's great. And I actually think that colleges should do that. Colleges, if they're telling these kids 18 years old, take out whatever you need to take out as far as debt and, come to our school, I think they need to be able to assure that, hey, you're going to learn real skills, like hard skills. You shouldn't be able to just get like a liberal arts degree and that's it. You should have to learn hard skills, and there should be a guarantee on those hard skills of like, look, you won't have to pay this back until you get a job in your field. That is, unless someone's like changing their mind about what they want to do or something. Like until you get the job, making X amount of money minimum, that's when you start paying us back. That's my thought process. Because again, everything else you get a return, right? Cassandra says you have a heart for helping people, Jessica. I love that. Yes, I do. I mean, I just don't. I don't know. I just don't want people, and I think most people don't want to see other people suffering. I don't like that. There's a lot of people suffering for no reason. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. 6-month boot camps guarantee that. Yes, exactly. You can do a boot camp, or you can even do, again, certifications that are out here. I'm just like, don't waste your money. Okay, let's get back to the story. All right. So, oh my goodness. Finally, look at this, guys. Okay, it says years later, how many years later? Because she got her degree in 1998, and then she didn't take a vacation until 2009. Jeez. So she didn't take a vacation until like a decade later. She takes a vacation. She says, I mean, who knows? Because that sounds a little funny. I'm like, really? You didn't take a vacation at all? At all, really? Years later, she decided to leave nonprofit work. Not that I have anything against nonprofit work, but when you have this much debt, you got to pay the debt. Like it's like, I was listening, so don't judge me. I was listening to Bia, and she was saying, oh, what was the quote she said? Because it was like perfect for this. It was like she doesn't have enough money to be stat or complacent or something like that. I don't have enough income to be complacent or something like that. Like, no, you have to build for that. You have to plan for that time period where you say like, oh, I'm just going to chill and kind of be a librarian part-time. Like, no, you do the work, do it while you're young, get, put that out there, have some savings, get debt free, and then do, some of these life goals that you would like to do the kind of, let's just chill job or whatever, your passion job is my opinion. If your passion job does not pay you enough, that would be my recommendation. So anyway, years later, she decided to leave nonprofit work for the higher paying corporate world. Yes, welcome to the dark side. Okay, so she finally started earning an impressive salary. Yay. But she chose to focus first on building up a rainy day fund. I think that's fair. And playing catch up with retirement savings. Oh my gosh. So she wasn't, okay, this is another problem. So she wasn't saving for retirement. I just don't understand how she didn't pay off the debt, or at least like make a chunk in it. Like at 2009, she should have paid at least half of that debt off because she had 70,000. She's making 40,000. And here's the other thing: like she didn't get any pay raises. She wasn't working on the weekends to pay down the debt. Like I just hold the person accountable because I had student debt and I was working, like the job at Macy's was a weekend job to help me pay down debt and just keep some of the living things I wanted to do. Like I wanted to buy, holiday gifts for people, Christmas presents for people, without stopping my additional payments on my student debt. So I decided to take a weekend evening job at Macy's. Again, I found, you guys know me, I found the easier job because I already know, like evenings after working a full day, weekend, like I don't want to be shoveling shoes around and running around with clothes and having to do all that. I've done that work before in retail, and it's not fun. So, working at the jewelry counter, and that helped me to continue to pay down the debt while also helping me still have a little enjoyment in life, give gifts to people, do things for my mom, things like that. So yeah. Cassandra says, I agree to paying the debt. I have a master's degree and I did not go to school to eat my Oh my goodness. Wait, I'm going to pin that if I can. Oh, I can't pin it in here because I'm in StreamYard. Let me say that again. I agree to paying the debt. I have a master's degree and I did not go to school to eat my books. Exactly. Exactly. No. Like we've got to get some of that. Brown girl Bella's laughing at me. Welcome to the dark side. I mean, she came from the angelic nonprofit world and made it on over to the dark side of the corporate world with more money. Let's just say that. So I'm proud that she did that, but why did it take her? Hopefully it didn't take her a decade. I'm just kind of following the timeline here, but I really hope it did not take her a decade to do that. Okay. So she decided to do rainy day fund, do her retirement savings, because I guess she wasn't really doing that as much, which is sad. You should always take, if you're getting paid, and nonprofit, I know they work differently, but you should be contributing to your retirement savings either way. All right. After hearing friends and colleagues talk about their savings and investments, Sabrina wanted to try to make up for lost ground. She says, you know what? I'm not even gonna say it, but I think at least that's a good thing. It sounds like she had some good friends around her that were talking about their savings and investments. So that's a good thing. I'm surprised they weren't talking about the debt. The debt is the thing that no one likes to talk about. No one's ever like, yeah, got 150,000 of debt. Like no one just comes out and says that in conversation, but people will talk about like, hey, I'm investing in my mutual funds or whatever. So at least they're having those conversations. I think that's great. I do wonder though, too, if she was having conversations about her career and how to make more money. Those are the conversations that she should have also been having during that time, because that can be beneficial to really understand what your market rate are paying, like what is in your area, And for your job title, your experience, your degree, like Cassandra has a master's degree, what are people getting paid? What are the people in your circle getting paid? Having those open conversations can really help you, because you can find out that you're underpaid, or you need to, try something else or try something different, or you learn that if you have this special certification, you can get 20K more, 30K more, or whatever. So yeah, you definitely have to have conversations. So I'm glad she was doing something. I'm glad that that happened. So she said, I felt like if I don't start saving for retirement now, when I get older, what am I going to do? She says, I can't rely on my parents. I hope not. If you're like, at that point, what, she 35? Like, what is going on here? So I can't rely on my parents. I'm a single woman. The responsibility falls squarely on me. Ah, interesting. And yes, okay. These were good moves. Financial advisors. She might need to get married. I'm kidding. I'm halfway kidding. But two people paying down debt can be better than one. I don't know. I don't know what to tell her. This is tough. I know she's older now, but I mean, gosh, that's a lot of money that she has. Because 10,000 she got, then 60,000, 70,000, and it's been accruing interest. So skip ahead to this, and we see that by the time she turned her attention to paying off her loans in 2013, okay, so we have been following the timeline. A full 15 years after her law school graduation, her debt had grown to $200,000. That's really sad. So as of 2020, she's paid some of it down, though it's been hard to shrink the total with that 8% interest rate. She now owes about $166,000. Well, that's good that she's at least working on shrinking it. Wow. So she says, so here it is, with a mortgage that's paid off and more than 500,000. Okay. And two 401k account. Okay, so she's good. She's been working this corporate, probably a corporate lawyer job, and so those are really good. But a massive debt load hanging over her head. If she's able to continue paying at the rate she is now, she'll pay it off in 2035. Really? That's crazy. So she's not even, you know what? But I do think it would be less if she had been paying it when she had that nonprofit job. Like, because that's crucial. Like, just paying even the interest or getting the principal of it down. Like, if she could just have worked on that principal a little bit more, even if it wasn't much, but a little bit more. My question is, did she have a budget? Because, I mean, the money's going somewhere. Like, she could have done it. I've listened to way too many Dave Ramsey calls where people are like, I ate ramen noodles for a year and I worked 2 and 3 jobs and I paid down 100,000, and I've done it myself. And so I wasn't eating ramen noodles the whole time, but just saying, you create a budget, you stick to it. And it works, but hey. Cassandra said, I'm just saying, Everett. LOL, she said get married. OMG, look, this lady, she needs to have some options. She needs a little help. I think I'm just trying to help her out. I think she needs to just find a nice young or older gentleman, a doctor, engineer, something, make that love connection happen, get someone that she likes, and then they can work on it together. Like, and I'm only saying that because I listen to Dave Ramsey a lot. When I compare the people that are single, men and women, when they're single and they're trying to knock out debt, it takes them longer. But when a couple does it, it's like, bam, it's like we paid off 200,000 in a year and a half, and we were making this, and then we grew to this. And when you have a partner, there's a reason we weren't meant to just kind of be in silos. When you partner with somebody, you can, one, you're going to have a bigger shovel to do it, and you're going to have someone that's going to hold you accountable. I don't think she has a very good budget, to be honest. And I don't know if she's been in the right mindset, or if she really wants to pay it off. Like they're saying, she has this massive debt load hanging over her head. But when I see these type of numbers in this amount of time, I'm like, well, do you really want it gone? I don't understand. So, okay. So the last part I want to talk about in here is, she says, Ellie, okay, so here you go. Sabrina knows there's a personal responsibility to repaying debt. She doesn't disagree with those who say borrowers should have to repay their debt since they chose to take it on. In some cases, it depends. It's case by case. But in my mind, I think I've paid for it. She says, now noting how years of 1,400 monthly payments has added up. I paid for that principal 2 times over. Yes, you did. Like, I wonder if she could have gotten a lower interest rate, just consolidated that and gotten a lower interest rate. I do wonder if maybe, like they said, federal, but I wonder if there's some private loans mixed in there or something. Like, something's going on. I have questions. I have a lot of questions for Sabrina. So, but I wish the best to her. Hopefully she gets it paid sooner than 2035. And I do wonder what her passions are. Like, if her passion is to work in nonprofit, the sooner she pays down the debt, the sooner she can go back into nonprofit work that she might enjoy. So this is interesting, but that's just my thought process. So you got to hear my thought process as I'm thinking about financial stuff. This is not a financial channel, but it's another passion point of mine. Anthony said, I did a look online. They teach you Python and AI, artificial intelligence, to make money, but you can't find anything online, an algorithm to get rid of debt. Oh, well, you know what? I would just say you can put together a budget, a zero-based budget, so you see every single dollar and where it's going. Before you do that, I would say you just have to track your spending. Like, track every single thing you pay for, because that's where it starts. You have to know. If you don't know what you're spending on, you can't fix it. You don't know if you end up spending $100 at Target every week, or $50 at Starbucks every week, or I don't know, whatever, or silly stuff, because a lot of those little things that you don't really think about, it really adds up. Like, oh, I'm gonna throw these extra stuff in the cart. And then especially the ladies in the chat, I think know, but we know how that is. You go to Target or you go to the mall and you were like, oh, I just want this and that. And then you end up with all this stuff and it's like $400. You're like, I'm just kind of making up numbers here, but yeah, you're like, oh, that wasn't what I planned. And so things like that really do add up. Or, maybe for guys, I know one of my friends, her husband, he has this thing for camping gear. He gets all types of gear, everything. So he cannot just go to, what is the name of that place? Oh, help me out. There's this outdoorsy type of store. Cabela's, I guess I could say. That's not what I'm thinking of, but like a Cabela's, and can't go into that store because he's going to get a bunch of stuff. Or some people, like my brother, they're techies. So they got to have every single new gadget, all types of things. And it's like, where's your money going, right? Or drinks, when you go out to drink, and all these little things that add up. Let me see. That's food for thought. Anthony said, all she had to do was ask or move your loans. They tend to work with you. Yeah, I question that. I'm like, I have a lot of questions. I have so many questions for Miss Sabrina. And I just don't think she was so worried about them, and then kind of looked and was like, oh my gosh, I got all this student loan debt, because that's what happens when you're not paying attention to something. Yeah, it just grows and grows and grows. So, Paulino saying food. Yeah, because Anthony said food for thought. And by the way, Paulino, what is for dinner? As I move on to the next topic, my last topic for tonight, for the evening, is Gen Z. So let's talk about them for just a second. I'm going to remove this. Okay. And guys, I told someone about this earlier, but I saw this video of this veteran, black man veteran, completely being disrespected by officers. It really broke my heart. Did anyone see that video? I ended up making a few posts on my Instagram because I was just like, I'm just at the point of just like what I say a lot on the channel. Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, they were right. Like everything they've said is true, and we haven't done anything different. Okay, is this it? I think this one's it. Okay, so I'm gonna share this one. Did I do the right one? No, I didn't. And it's because, guys, I'm not trying to share the wrong thing. It literally just shows as LinkedIn at the top. So I'm like, so I'm literally like trying to see which one is which. Let me hover over and see if that works. Nope, that didn't work. Oh, what's this one? I might share this actually. Okay. So this one I haven't looked at yet. So you're getting like actual reaction here. So it's saying young people stand to make dismal returns on their investment. Now, the LinkedIn article said the world's youngest crop of adults have their work cut out for them. Large portions of Generation Z, those born in 1997 or after, enter the job market amid, like right in the midst of a pandemic. We get that, and they will need to contend with the increasingly severe effects of climate change. Oh, they included climate change too. Their nest eggs are also at risk, according to The Economist, which is the article we're going to look at. And the generation can expect just 2% average annual real, 2%, wow, annual real returns on their investment portfolios. And by comparison, picking on the baby boomers again and the Gen Xers, and they're including millennials in here, we've enjoyed real returns of 5% or greater. I would say, yeah, I would say that's true. Like looking at my portfolio, definitely some good returns. To weather the low return storm, the generation will likely need to be prudent, focusing on saving more and investing for the long term. That's what everyone else is doing. What kind of advice is that? That's like, just do what everyone else is doing. You know, save more money, invest for the long term, be prudent. Like, that's what millennials have. That's literally been millennials' life. Like, we literally graduated high school and was like, oh, we got to save all this money. We're not going to have Social Security. We don't have any jobs. Like all of that. Like, we've been doing that. So you might have to do something else. You might have to, I don't know. You have to become TikTok famous or something. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so they're providing this chart, and it's showing, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Okay, there we go. So they're showing real returns by generation. Now, my point and why I go in on baby boomers, I do not hate baby boomers, okay? It's just that I'm very realistic. And so look here. Who's got the longest line on the chart, which shows the most returns on the chart? The baby boomers, right? So we're seeing in this chart what type of annualized real returns. This is global, and it's by generation. So it's broken up by equities, bonds, and then the other last bottom part, that light grayish blue color, is a 70-30 blend, which I think is, I don't know if 70% equities, 30% bonds or stock. I'm not sure what that means. Let's see. So baby boomers, and I'm not sure what this 7 means either. Let me see if it explains it down here. So either way, we see that there's a significant increase in what baby boomers and the returns they received. I think this is like 7% interest, I'm guessing. So 7% or close to, maybe over, closer to 8%, right? Return on the equities. Closer to about midway, 3.5% on their bonds, and 70-30 blend. I want to say that's stock. I feel like that's probably stock, like maybe stock bonds or something, but it's saying 6.5%. And then for Gen X, they're just below that. And then millennials, okay, millennials are doing pretty decent. So we're closer to the Gen X, group. And then we see the forecast for, oh goodness, the forecast for Gen Z is that they'll get 3% return on their equities. Negative, look at that, almost negative, almost negative 0.5% on their bonds, and then about 2% on their 70-30 blend, which again, I'm guessing is the stock market. That's pretty crazy. I'm going to have to look through this article a bit, but yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. So they're highlighting here to do, they forecasted what Gen Z might expect to earn in the coming decades. To do this, they assume the real return on equities will be equal to the inflation-adjusted return on a risk-free asset represented by treasury bills. We know how those are doing. Those aren't doing well. They estimate at negative 0.5%. That's ridiculous. Like, at that point, are you paying for... Like, I don't even understand how negative interest rates work. Like if a bank had negative interest rates, like, am I then paying the bank to hold my money? I don't get that completely. So anyway, definitely going to be keeping tabs on that. Not too much I'll discuss just because I'm not forecasting anything for Gen Z, but just something to keep in mind. Again, I had a series where I was assessing each generation, and I haven't done Generation Z yet. So that will be an upcoming video, because I don't even know how they have a lot of struggles. I feel for them. I'm not just solely, focused on my generation, although, millennials are the best. But yeah, I will be talking about Gen Z soon. Let me see. Anthony said, now that people are focusing on debt, she can't get married. No, I don't know about that. There are some men, I'll do a story time later, but there are some men out here paying debt. I'll just tell you that. Some men do not care. If you look good enough, that's all I'm going to say on that. If you look nice, there are some men that do not care what is. Let's let's get together. That's all I'm gonna say. Paulindo saying for dinner today, just a Greek yogurt. Some days I eat light. Oh, do you do like intermittent fasting, Paulindo? I was doing that for a while. I like it. I did a 3-day fast. When was that? It was in January. Anyway, I felt really good after. Like, it's very cleansing. It's like a detox for your body. So it's great. Edward says, yes, I did, Mr. Karan Nazario. Wait, where is that coming up? What did I miss? Edward, what did I miss on that? Who is... I'll let Edward answer. I don't know. What did I miss? What was that about? That's who's robbing us. Oh, this is who's robbing us, Mr. Kerr. Well, let me look. I don't know who this is. I do not know who this is. Should I know this person? Should I know? Mr. Oh, that was the officer's name. Okay, I didn't know who it was. Oh, that was the veteran's name. Army Officer Karan Nazario sues Virginia police over violent traffic stop. Yeah, that really broke my heart. It really broke my heart to see that. 1 million lawsuit, and he deserves every penny. Because one, he served a country. Well, you guys know I have a special place in my heart for veterans. Yeah, I have veterans in my family. But just the thought of serving for the country, coming back to the said country and then being treated inhumane. And I won't say just Black, Black people get treated, all veterans. I think there needs to be more done for our veterans. But, coming back as a Black man, and he's in his, army suit, right? And for a traffic stop, come on now. Anything as an officer, I'd be like, look, you serve the country, you just go ahead. Yeah, okay. Like you've done enough. You have done enough. Anthony says baby boomers robbing everybody. In some ways, yes. In some ways, yes. The ones that, that wealthy group, yes, they're the ones getting the money from a lot of the student loans. And if you think about the politicians and where their money are, a lot of our politicians are very wealthy. There are reasons why they won't, they're not going to want to stop those student loans, like how it's set up, because it actually benefits them. If anything, it's going to be set up for when they're gone, because they've already gotten theirs. They've already gotten what they need out of the system, right? That is a subject victim. Yes, thank you, Edward. Because I was like, who is this? I never knew the guy's name. I saw it and immediately was just like upset about it. I shouldn't even say upset, but it's just frustrated because, the argument a lot of times for these men that are shot by the police officer, I was literally cringing because I was like, oh my gosh, is he going to get shot? Oh my gosh, is he going to get shot? Even after I saw him in uniform, saw that he had a uniform, I was like, oh my gosh, is he going to get shot? And hoping that he didn't. And this is the video for anyone that you can go ahead and watch it. I won't play it myself, but this is the title. And there's my ring light that you can see. So I don't know if you can see the title so good. But yeah, this is what was happening. Like grabbing the man, like just stuff that I'm just like, some of it was just, my thoughts were, okay, ego. Because they're like, oh, well, I'm a veteran too. And well, what are you? And just very cringy video, and sad to see that after and he's actively serving the country. I think he's active. Pretty much pulling him out of the car. And then I think they still pepper sprayed him or something. The video I saw cut off at that point. And then the threats, like all the threats of, I just don't get it. But meanwhile, there are people that can be armed that look different than him, can threaten the officer, and they can be treated like a human with respect. So, yeah. Yeah. So I was pretty upset earlier. You guys know me. I always reference, Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, are like, I just stand by a lot of what they said, and all of what they said was true. So this is why I posted earlier on my channel, or not my channel, my Instagram. I posted a video and then I shared this. April 28th, 1967, Muhammad Ali refused to go, serve in the Vietnam War. And he was basically saying, well, what those people do to me? In this country, I'm treated, inhumane. And this is actually what I shared. I shared a picture of him and, Malcolm X as well. Because America treated its Black people as second-class citizens, the champ said he'd stand his ground by refusing to serve in his army. And I shared another picture of him, of Muhammad Ali. And I said he was correct then, still correct now. Do you get it yet? And then I just said, rest well to him. But he said, I have nothing. Well, I'm going to say this quote first. Why should they ask me to put on a uniform? he said, and go 10,000 miles from home and drop bombs and bullets on brown people in Vietnam, while so-called Negro people in Louisville are threatened like dogs and denied simple human rights. I have nothing to lose by standing up for my beliefs. We've been in jail for 400 years. And then I did a post like appreciating veterans, but that was because, the story is always, they paint the picture of, well, if they had just listened to the officer, or if they weren't thug, or if they hadn't done something wrong. And it's like, you literally see Black skin as a threat, and you see it as inferior. So if you see it as you're so superior, then yeah, fight your own war. You don't need us. You do your own stuff. At that point, like, why are we here? Why do you need us to do anything? Don't ask us for anything if you're so superior. If we're so inhumane. I don't know. It's just a lot. Anyway, I'm getting a little teary-eyed, so I'm going to end this live. Everett said yes, he was pepper sprayed. Can't even get respect, after risking your life, taking up a lot of your youth to protect your own country, and you come back and you're not even treated as a human. Like, people are treating dogs better than that. Anyway, that's what I think about that. If you want to follow my general post on Instagram, my channel name is right here. And thank you, Edward. Please do hit the thumbs up button. My professional channel is Jobs from Jess. If you're like, hey, Jess, I only want to hear about job-related things, see when you post videos, things like that, that's fine. If you want to see my more personal, just like happenings throughout the day, what I'm thinking, things like that, Miss Jessica Crystal, don't judge me, but I do post openly there. And that is the video. I will plan to see you guys tomorrow. Just have a little chit chat after, the work day. And thank you guys for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the session talking about these different topics, student loans, the whole bonuses to send people to work or send people on, vacation pretty much. And then most likely an upcoming topic to really dig into the Gen Z or Generation Z group and really understanding what some of their struggles are and how they have been affected during this pandemic, because that was the last group that I have not yet actually looked at. So I will have that coming up. Oh, thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it. All right. Bye, guys. Bye, lovely people. Definitely have a good evening and have a great work week.